Greetings, Internet. The GM did zero prep. No prep at all. Completely forgot.
Yep.
Even really what day of the week it is. No preparation was had. Session's very canceled.
Oh my god. I can't.
Welcome back. Welcome back. And you know, as per the statements we just that Isaiah just made to me and we just made to each other, broadly speaking, I done forgot whose turn it was today. So I thought it was Isaiah's, so I didn't really have anything ready to go. And Isaiah remembered it was me, but didn't say anything. So
Wait, whoa, brother. You're not putting this on me.
Hold on. Just to be clear, when I say didn't say anything, what I mean is like you didn't ask me what the plan was or anything, so that did not prompt my brain. Like you didn't ask, like, what are we doing? You know what I mean?
So yeah, I guess to clarify,
because you often do.
I do sometimes. Yeah, I like. There are some weeks where we talk like on the previous days about what the episode's going to be about if it requires like a certain amount of homework. But then there's like the sort of lower, not priority days, but like the less immediately sticks out to us days where we kind of just, you know, decide on a couple days before or that morning of if it's something we have like particularly a lot of information about, or like a lot of information that we already have, we don't need research for.
Yeah.
And that we'll sort of just run it on the fly, or like the stream of consciousness episodes. Those are all pretty much improv with no script. But yeah, no, we are flying by the seat of our cocks today.
We're cooked. We're so cooked.
Cooketh, yeah.
So you might say, what are you doing on the fly? Well, conveniently, a new UA came out this morning, so we're talking about the new UA. You might say, did you read it? Kinda.
I watched the video.
I didn't watch the video. I kind of read it, and I have some thoughts. All right, so here we go. I hope you're ready. Y'all ready for some reading as we go?
Yeah,
because that's what's gonna happen.
Before you start, follow us on your social media platform of choice.
Yeah, if you like this shit, no, not fucking. I don't give a shit about the social media. Follow on the podcast platform, sir.
Fair enough.
Yeah, if you like this shit show of a train, hit the subscribe button. That'd be nice.
Show of a train.
Shit show of a train. What the hell?
Oh no! This is an ill omen.
Good start. Well, the other thing I was gonna say is we're almost at 100 subscribers on YouTube. So if you could bump us up to 100, that'd be cool. I know it's an arbitrary number, but I like that number. It's a good number.
That would be sexy.
Yeah. I mean, we're over 100 when you put the two platforms together, but on YouTube specifically, we're almost at 100. So I thought that'd be nice. So yeah, Wizards of the Coast. A little quiet right now. There's been some news about Wizards of the Coast, and some people are in the D&D is Dead cabin. Cabin? What? Camp. Jesus Christ. I decided my brain needs a minute.
No, brother, I get it. Christ. I understand.
Some people are in the D&D is Dead camp or dying. It's not. There's just a little shuffling going on, and so they're a little quiet right now. That's really all that's going on. I will say, we just got the 5.2 SRD. And it is officially in Creative Commons. So we have the updated SRD and they cannot take it away from us unless, I don't know, fucking Trump destroys the rules for Creative Commons or something, maybe. But other than that situation, which I don't think is going to happen, we have the 5.2 SRD officially and it is fully in Creative Commons. So that's nice. And also D&D Beyond is getting some maps from Chepeku, which is interesting, like officially on the platform.
I already fucking subbed to them on Patreon, so like
I feel like everyone does.
They're so good, dude. I like them so much I follow them on their fantasy and sci-fi.
Nice. So yeah, they're officially on D&D Beyond now, which is interesting. Also, just in case anyone was curious, Sigil is still getting some very minor updates. So that's Cool, I guess. They added a Displacer Beast mini today. And they added an undo function. Which is still crazy that wasn't in there in the first place. Just saying.
Yeah, it's a little, like...
ridiculous.
Yeah. It's a good word for it.
So all that being said, we got a new UA. Now, some of you may be wondering, all right, so we got a new 5e UA. Usually the UAs are, portents, omens for upcoming projects, right? So the last 2 UAs we got were about the Artificer and Eberron stuff because an Eberron book's coming out. This UA is, I think it's 6. Wait, let me count real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. God damn it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 7 subclasses that they're calling horror subclasses. Which, I'm not gonna lie, I'm intrigued by that right off the bat because are we getting like an updated Van Richten's guide?
I mean, Van Richten's guide was already the update. I can't imagine we are, but I don't know what else it could be unless
what
it's
else
just
could it be?
We could just be getting a revamp of the original Barovia setting book. They seem to be pretty like big on the setting books in this edition around.
Maybe? That's interesting. I don't know. I didn't consider that.
Well, because and the reason for that could be, right, is you can just use Curse of Strahd or Van Richten's guide, but those are sort of pointed, right? Like you are going to fight Strahd, and you can use that setting information to do other things, but it all sort of revolves around Strahd as a character, whereas Barovia is more than just Strahd. So, like,
that's very true.
We can see some other stuff going on there.
That's very true. Huh. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know what's going on there, but we got 7 horror subclasses. So intrigue, I suppose. I don't know. I'm in kind of a. I think. Not that I'm going to speak for you. Well, I am going to speak for you a little bit, but I think I'm probably right in my assumption. I think both of us are currently in a position where we're just sort of watching 5e from a far distance right now because we are neither in any 5e games nor running any 5e games, and we're both a little bit burnt out on it. So
yeah, a bit.
We're kind of just watching from a curious distance.
Yeah, you were just going, oh, yeah, look at that.
Yeah. So this particular UA, I wouldn't say I'm like super excited. I'm intrigued by a couple of the ideas and disappointed by a couple of the ideas. Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't immediately single anything out that I'm disappointed. No, that's not true. I've got one thing.
I think I know what you're thinking.
You probably do, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, UA. Let's talk about the UA. It's real straightforward. It just has the 7 subclasses, nothing else. So no other mechanics being added or anything, which is interesting because I feel like they usually throw in some extra mechanic stuff, but not in this case. I also think it's funny because UA in the early days of 5e used to be a lot more we're just gonna throw some shit out and kind of see what happens, right? There wasn't wholly a plan with a lot of, like, the Revise Ranger is a great example that I'm thinking of. They just kind of threw that bitch out there to see what would happen, right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, it seems like UA is very explicitly, we're trying an idea for a future project. What do you think? And there's some pros and some cons to that, I would say. So they didn't throw any mechanics in on this UA, even though it's probably portending a future project. So yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's a little up in the air. It's a little hunky-dory interesting. I don't know. We'll see. That's enough beating around the bush, though. What's the deal with the UA? So, like I said, it's just subclasses. What, moist? What?
first thing we're going to talk about uses the word moist in big bold letters. Just sticks out to me in a weird way. I can't.
It does use the word moist
in big bold letters. You can't escape it.
Does. You're right. So the first subclass is a brand new subclass, and I just think it's really funny.
It's very funny.
I just think it's really funny because the first subclass listed is an artificer subclass called the Reanimator. And the basic vibe is that you're a mad scientist with a flesh golem. You know, you have your Frankenstein's monster situation, right? And I don't hate that idea. Like I'm kind of cool with that concept. But it is kind of funny because it feels like we got a necromancer artificer before a necromancer wizard, which is kind of hilarious. And B, just another reason to not play Beastmaster.
Yep.
Like, I know Beastmaster is much more functional in 2024. It absolutely is, but it still feels. It just feels like every other pet class is cooler than Beastmaster to the point where I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah, it really do just be getting the dick down of the century.
Like, if you really, honestly, at this point, if you're someone who plays 5e and you really want to play a Beastmaster vibe, but you just can't with the Beastmaster that's in the book, look up the Beast Heart by MCDM. It's an entire class. It's not just a subclass. It does the Beastmaster thing in the way that you want, just so much better. So we have the Reanimator. I guess I'll read the descriptions because why not? So the Reanimator defies the laws of nature in the pursuit of gruesome experiment. These grim artificers stitch together servants from disparate corpses, use foul magic to strengthen the living, and transform the art of necromancy into a terrifying science. So like I said, it's your Dr. Frankenstein thing. You get your animator spells. These are never that. I mean, they're fine. These are never super interesting to talk about. I feel like, you start with False Life, Spare the Dying, Witch Bolt. Level 5, you get Blindness, Deafness, Enhance Ability. Level 9, you get Animated Dead, Lightning Bolt. Oh, Lightning Bolt's a fun one. Level 13, you get Blight and Death Ward. Level 17, you get Anti-Life Shell and Raise Dead.
Okay, wait. No, I do actually quite like these. These all feel really fun and on brand. Like,
they're definitely thematically work, yeah. So, first level 3 ability is Jolt of Life. Basically, you can cast Spare the Dying on a person. And they actually, instead of being put in like a little suspended animation thing, they actually regain 1 HP and get back up, and then explode in a little ball of lightning, doing a D4 plus half your artificer level to everyone around them 10 feet. I don't know that that's going to be like a super... Oh, actually, wait a minute. Spare the Dying is always ranged now, isn't it?
Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah. So actually, that is going to be a pretty effective ability. I was going to say, I don't know how effective it's going to be, but I forgot. Yeah, all Spare the Dying is ranged now instead of just Grave Domain. So, yeah. So that's kind of a fun spell. You just fucking lightning jolt a homie and they just pop up and explode.
Oh no, you become the new world's worst defib, except you're actually a good defib.
Yeah.
There's a fun joke there in our Fire Emblem campaign. A character died, and we were like, "Do we have any electric spells to maybe like give this guy a defib because we don't have any healing magic?" And an NPC we had just hit the corpse with a lightning bolt with no other.
Oh my god!
We just like put him into full panic attack mode, and we were like, "Try anything," and he was like, "Okay." And then when it's a great deal describing how the dude's heart just exploded like a fucking grape, and we were like, "Oh."
That's fair.
We had the face of in the Amazing World of Gumball when Gumball drops the baby made of pizza and he like steps on it and slips when he walks down the stairs, and the parents are just like mortified.
What a reference.
It's such a good bit.
There's many good bits in Gumball.
It's true.
Remember the bit when Darwin opens it, he like clicks a pop-up ad and it just it keeps going and going and going and the like light blows his fucking eyeballs out. That show's so good, dude. Oh fuck. So the other primary level 3 for this subclass is the reanimated corpse. This is your Frankenstein's monster, your flesh golem thing. I get it. I know that this is just how 5e does things, but I fucking cannot stand the way they describe this, and I'm gonna read it to get my point across. Using tinkerer's tools or another type of artisan tools with which you have proficiency, you can take a magic action to create a reanimated companion through the power of necromancy and science. The reason this really bugs me is because you're telling me that rules is written, I can pull out my tinkerer tools, throw some fucking hammers and nails on the floor, and within 6 seconds make a fucking Frankenstein's monster pop into existence.
Yep.
I hate that mental image so deeply. And I don't know how I would explain this fictionally, because there's no universe where I'm gonna say that my reanimated golem just pops into existence, because that sounds so fucking lame. So I don't know how I would describe that if I was playing this subclass, but I would find some way to explain why he can just pop up in 6 seconds. Maybe like the corpse is like tied to my back or something, or in a backpack and I unload him, something like that.
Oh,
or
yeah,
maybe
hit him with the fucking, the Gara sand gourd.
Yeah, the sand gourd, right. Or maybe I carry him around on a wagon or something. I don't know, but I hate the idea that he just like, there's a puff of smoke and he just exists. I hate that. I hate that so deeply.
This is a thing. We've talked about this before.
It's a thing 5e does.
Yeah, where 5e is afraid to make you work for it. Like, if they were like, after a battle, you can scavenge pieces of corpses from the battlefield and you can make your flesh golem. But they're like, but what if you're not in a battle? And it's like,
right.
Well, then and you don't get to make the golem.
Well,
but then they go, but what if but you don't have your, but then you go, okay, then you make it really strong so it's hard to die and you can only bring it back once a day. That's you offset it.
Yeah, well, I just imagine an ability like this in Fabula, and the wording would be, you find the pieces of like desiccated bodies, somewhere, however you manage to it would be a little open-ended, right? It'd be like you find the pieces of desiccated body somehow, and then you spend time to do a project to stitch the creature together, right? Like that would be the wording in Fabula, and that's what I want. But 5e being like, it's just a magic action, and then he shows up, I'm just like, It's just, and you're right. What they're doing is they don't want to make you work for it because they want to make it as generic as possible to work in any kind of game. We're going to bring this up again for another example in a minute. Don't you worry. So it's just like, and I know I'm harping a lot on this, but it bugs me that they keep doing. It's the same thing as the animals that the Beastmaster summons are all spirit animals. I fucking hate that so much. Hate that they're spirits. That drives me insane. And I know most people probably don't give a shit about that, but it bugs me in a special kind of way.
No, I mean, I agree.
Anyway,
I personally like that they're spirits, but I think it's totally valid to be like, but no, I'm a Beastmaster, not a fucking spirit caller or whatever.
Yeah, I want a real, yeah. Like there's a universe where I could flavor a Beastmaster as more of like a shamanistic spirit caller, and that's fine, but I want Trinket, right? I want Vex and Trinket. I want Clive and Torgal. I don't want, I can't think of
Ender Lily situation.
Yes. I mean, that's kind of a niche example, but yes, I don't want an Ender Lily situation for the Beastmaster. I don't want them to be like spirits tied to my soul. I want part of the reason that Torgal is so cool in Final Fantasy 16 is because you start the game and he's a little baby puppy and Clive is learning how to be a soldier and he's like playing with the puppy and you're like, oh, it's my friend. And then you you lose Torgal for a little while and he gets captured, and then you meet him again. You're like, oh, it's my dog. And then your dog's like, oh my God, it's my master. And then you find out that Torgal's been hanging out with your buddy Sid and learning how to fight as like a cool, badass, like giant war wolf. And then you find out he's like literally a special magical wolf. And that's even cool. Like, it's the whole narrative of knowing him from when he's a puppy, you know? Anyway, sorry. This is a rabbit hole, but it's just one of those things. It's a trend I've noticed in 5e that bugs the shit out of me.
No, it's fair. I get it.
So the companion, the reanimated companion, has all of the usual rules that most of them does. You know, it's friendly, blah, blah, blah. It lasts until you finish a long rest or do the magic action to dismiss it, in which point... This also bugged me. So you could do the magic action to dismiss it, at which point it harmlessly collapses into a pile of viscera. So we're acknowledging that it's physically present as a pile of meat in some capacity, but we can do the magic action to pop it into existence? Right? Like, that's a little weird.
Yeah, wait, why does it just explode into viscera? Like,
so it
just
says
pops like a balloon. Like, I know it falls apart.
Yeah.
But like, viscera assumes like bloody and entrails.
True,
it just
maybe the wording's a little.
It just kind of, and then guts everywhere. Surprise, all organs. Like,
I imagined like the stitching on the flesh golem. All the stitching comes undone. It falls apart in pieces. That's what I thought of. When you do that, it drops to 0 hit points, and then it has an ability called Death Burst. It basically explodes.
I do like this a lot.
It's kind of fun.
So I had an interesting thought, because this act, not entirely, but there are some reminiscence here that lead back to the old Arcane Mechanist. And I'm really happy to see this. It's not like the mechanics are different, but the spirit of the thing is still there. And
right, that makes sense.
I have to say this. I got to give them credit for this. Did I want Arcane Mechanist? Yes.
Yes.
But if I was going to get it in any other way, shape, or form, Dr. Frankenstein. Yeah. No, this is it. I like this a lot.
Good one.
Like,
yeah, pretty good one.
Like, it's like, this isn't what I wanted. And then I look at it and go, fuck, that's cool.
Yeah, fuck, it's kind of cool, though.
Yeah. It's no one likes to show off, except for if what you're showing off is dope as fuck.
Yeah.
That's true. That's literally.
They got me. When you create the companion, basically you can do it once a day, or as they've done many times, you can burn spell slots. And then in combat, you can use a bonus action to command it to do stuff. Yeah, you know, the usual minion rules still apply. So its AC is 10 plus your int modifier, which means its AC will be decent. And its health is 4 plus 4 times your artificer level, which does mean gonna die pretty easy if it gets hit. But that's, I think, probably a little bit on purpose, because your companion explodes when it dies. Dexterity saving throw, DC equals your spell save DC. Each creature in a 10-foot emanation originating from the companion take 2d6 necrotic damage if they fail, which is not a bad amount of damage. Lightning absorption. Whenever the companion is subjected to lightning damage, it regains a number of hit points. I like that's a thing you could do. They didn't give wait, artificers don't have cantrips, right?
No,
right? Okay. So you might have to ask your wizard to hit him with some shocking grasp every once in a while, which I'm actually okay with. That's kind of fun. And then it has Dreadful Swipe, which is its basic melee attack, does necrotic damage, and the target can't take opportunity attacks until the start of its next turn, which is good because you're an artificer, so you're probably not going to be that tough. So you have it Dreadful Swipe, and then you can run away a little easier. That's cool. Then you get your strange modifications. Whenever you create an animated companion, it gains one of the following options of your choice when you create it. So you have to pick the form it takes when you make it, but it's when you create it. So every day you can, change it. Arcane Conduit, you can cast spells through it as if you were in the companion space. Once per turn, when you cast an artificer spell from evocation or necromancy, and it deals damage while your companion is within 120 feet of you, you can add your int modifier. So basically, you can use it as a, go stand next to the goblins and then cast fireball on it, and then it explodes extra or whatever. Or ferocity, when you command your companion to take the dreadful swipe action, it can attack twice. So basically, it gains multi. It gains the multi-attack property. I said it gains multi because that's the phrasing Fabula uses for a similar thing in my brain. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't. Anyway. I also
it gains the multi-tag.
Nope. It's funny that you say that because you said multi, and I was like, yeah, I know. And then we went, wait. Like, no, that was it. No, it's not it.
No, it's not it. Wrong game.
Sorry, I'm checking really quick on the artificer spells. They do get cantrips. I just checked 5e tools for the
did they get
shocking cauldron?
Did they get shocking grasp?
They do have shocking grasp.
Oh, okay, cool. So you can shock and grasp them. All right, that's good.
So you know what's funny? I have a very state alchemist idea for this. I don't know particularly why, but just the idea that you're like, hold on, but I got you. Fucking Ed Elric claps hands together.
Gives him the zippy. Yeah. Zap zap. Then you have improved. So as you might imagine, the entire subclass is based around your reanimated companion guy. I did forgot to mention, he's initially he is a small undead.
Oh, right. So he's a little munchkin.
So he's a little munchkin monster. It does get bigger, don't worry. So improved reanimation. Whenever you create a reanimated companion, it gains one of the following options of your choice. Choose when you create it. It can be bloated, which means it becomes large or medium, your choice. I don't know why you would ever not pick large, but yeah. I guess if you're in this tight space. Mm-hmm. Whenever it hits a large or smaller creature with its dreadful swipe, that creature can also be pushed 10 feet away. Additionally, you can add your int modifier to the damage dealt by its death burst. So basically, bloated's the slightly more tanky one. Gaunt.
For some reason, bloated reminds me of the Foo Fighters song, the Dead and Bloated. Or is that that's not Foo Fighters? That's
No, yeah, that's not Foo Fighters.
Oh no.
I don't know who that is though. I don't know.
Please continue. I don't know. I got fucking sidetracked.
You have the Gaunt version.
There we go.
You have the Gaunt version, which the companion. This is the fast one. The companion's speed increases to 45 feet. It gains a climb speed. It can climb difficult surfaces, including ceilings, which is awful.
I didn't read that. I love that so much.
It could just grudge across the ceiling.
Skitter.
Without needing to make an ability check. In addition, when a creature of your choice starts its turn within 10 feet, within a 10-foot emanation originating from your companion, the creature must succeed on a wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC, or have the frightened condition, which makes sense because it's a horrifying skitter creature. And then the last one, moist. Your companion gains a swim speed equal to its speed. In addition, whenever the companion is hit by an attack roll from a creature within 10 feet of it, the attacker takes acid damage equal to your intelligence modifier, which gives me a really gross thought, because I just imagine someone hitting the weird flesh golem and then it just burps acid on them, basically.
Yeah, it's a bloater from no, it's a boomer from Left 4 Dead, the ones that puke at you.
Yeah, the ones that puke, yeah. Or you hit it in the stomach and it burst a pustule or something. Yeah. And then level 15, Promethean Reanimation.
Reanimation.
I like that name. That's a good name.
It's a good one, yeah.
Facilitated Revival. When you cast Revivify or Raise Dead, the cost of the material components is halved. Okay. Improved Companion. The damage of your companion's death burst goes up to 4d6. Necrotic damage dealt by your companion ignores resistance, which is good considering how resistances work in 2024. And Life Transfer. You can siphon the animating magic of your companion to bolster yourself. When you take damage, you can take a reaction to cause your reanimated companion to drop to 0 HP. The companion immediately dies, triggering its death burst, and you regain a number of hit points equal to your artificer level. So that's a cool one. Is it level 15 cool? Iffy, but it is 3 different abilities on top of each other, so pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm this, honestly, of all of the subclasses that I've looked at, this is the one that I'm like, I want to play this really bad.
I think the like mental, the aesthetic, the mental image of this subclass is definitely cool. Again, I'm not against it. I just do think it is funny we got it before Necromancer Wizard.
Oh, it's hilarious. What's the anime character that had the coffin on their back?
You're not thinking of Gold Lewis Dickinson, are you?
No. Although that would be funny.
Okay. Coffin on their back.
Character with coffin.
In
my head, I want to say Konkoro, but it's not Konkoro. It's
no, Konkoro has the wrapped up puppet.
Yeah.
Coffin. Who has a coffin? Coffin. For a hot second,
it's the dude from Gungrave. There we go.
Oh, what a reference, bro!
I know.
The dude from Gungrave. Wait, isn't his name literally Gungrave?
It might be. Oh, fuck! You know, second episode, I'm bringing him up. Haji from Blood Plus has the cello case that looks like a casket.
Ah, nice.
I would want to play just like a fucking creepy little grungler like Susie from Little Witch Academia, just like the creepy character, and just have a coffin on my back with a little dude in it.
Right. Although I will say, I just realized something with the life transfer, because it only takes a magic action to summon the reanimated companion. You could like use the life transfer, get the HP back, blow him up, and then next turn pick him up with the magic action and use your bonus action to command him to attack. So
I love that, dude.
Yeah,
they're
that's
gonna patch
cool.
that, but I love that so much.
I don't know that. I mean, maybe, but I don't think so. That seems intentional. That seems thought out. I think so, yeah. Because the idea is like you burn your main action, but you have a bonus action to be like, you know, command him to still do something. I think that makes sense.
Oh no, I'm thinking too much about this already, because I'm like, this character's playlist would just be a bunch of Hellsing music.
Nice. Then we get College of Spirits Bard. I was really surprised to see this one.
Yeah, for sure.
I was like, I didn't think this needed a rework at all.
No, I think it was good exactly what they made it stronger. They gave it fucking Spirit Guardians, for God's sakes. But, yeah.
I thought that was interesting. So, changelog. So, College of Spirits, if you don't know, was in Van Richten's guide. And it is a bard subclass. Changes, Guiding Whispers and Spiritual Focus are now combined into a single feature called Channeler. This new feature also grants you proficiency with playing cards. Wait, didn't it already do that? Hold up. It didn't already do that?
I thought so.
I thought it did too. Am I tripping? I'm about to look right now, because that's really funny if it didn't before. Hold on. Please hold. Spirits. You learn guidance cantrips. You employ the aid channeling spirits. Oh no! It said you could use a candle, a crystal ball, a skull, a spirit board, or a Taroka deck as your spellcasting focus, but it didn't give you proficiency in playing cards. Which is fun. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but is kind of funny that they didn't think that. Spirits from the Beyond, formerly called Tales from the Beyond, has been reworked to improve its action economy and produce more immediate effects. The options on the features table have been revised as well. I kind of like Tales from the Beyond as a name better. That's their table that they roll on when they do a bardic inspiration. And then Empowering Channeling, a new feature that allows a bard to cast the Spirit Guardian spell, which is sick for sure. So Guiding Whisper, you know the guidance cantrip, and it has a range of 60 feet when you cast it, which before... Oh, no, okay, yeah, it did still do that. Oh, yeah, they didn't change them at all. They literally just smushed them into... What? That's not even... All right, whatever, I guess. And then spirit focus is the same. You employ tools that aid you in channel experience. When you gain a gaming set, you have proficiency, and you can use cards or one of the following items as your spellcasting focus. And it was the stuff I listed off before. Oh, it doesn't specifically say a Taroka deck, which is interesting. It just says cards. So Spirits from the Beyond, which used to be called Tales from the Beyond. While holding a spellcasting focus, you take a bonus action to use one of your Bardic Inspiration and call forth the powers of a spirit. Roll your Bardic Inspiration die and refer to the Spirits from the Beyond table to determine the spirit you channel, and then choose one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself as the spirit's target. The spirit immediately takes effect. If the spirit's effect requires a saving throw, the DC equals your Bard spell save DC. I just realized why they changed the name, I think. I think they are trying to disassociate from the Romani gypsy stereotype stuff.
Yeah, again, they sanitized it so much originally that I don't feel like this was necessary, but fuck it.
Yeah, well, because the idea before was called Tales from the Beyond, and you were reading their tarot, right? So now it's you're summoning a ghost, which... All right, fine. I actually, aesthetically, I don't mind the idea of summoning a ghost, so it's fine, but yeah. That is a little funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it looks like they changed the names of some of these. And let's see, so like Tale of the ooh. All right, I'm not gonna read through them all, but basically the idea is you roll on a D12 table, which obviously, as you might realize, you're like, wait a minute, but your Bardic Inspiration die doesn't start at a D12. Correct. You can only roll so high at the beginning, and then as you go up, you get better options on the table. But essentially, you roll. You roll on this table, and it's a random roll, and you get different various beneficial effects. Sometimes super helpful, sometimes real dog shit. We had a College of Spirits character in my campaign that we did, my last 5e campaign, and sometimes it'd be super awesome, the shit he pulled, and sometimes it would just be not very useful to the situation.
Always funny.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that the stuff on the table is bad, it's just it doesn't always fit what you need it to do in the moment.
Yeah.
So, I remember him pulling the one that stunned enemies a lot. That was a pretty good one.
More often than I think, I would have expected, yeah.
Yeah. Wait a minute, did they change the one called Tale of the Dragon to just Arsonist?
They did in fact do that.
Oh my god.
That's kind of gangster, I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah.
You just commit arson. All right. Sure. So yeah, Spirits from Beyond, and then you get the Empowered Channeling. Power from Beyond. Once per turn, you cast a Bard spell that deals damage or restores hit points. Roll a d6. Gain a bonus to one of the spell's damage rolls or the hit points restored. I think that's the same ability. No, it is not. No, it is not. Never mind. Oh, they removed Spirit Session. Oh, that's fucking lame. That was the thing. I remember Brett did the seance to get different spells.
Yeah.
They took that out. Okay, so for those who don't know, the way it used to work, you would do a spirit session where basically the bard would do like a weird seance. And you could get spells. You could choose a spell from a different class. So like at one point, Brett took Vampiric Touch. That's a really cool one. I'm a little sad they took that away.
Yeah, well, like that one's weird because you're just reading tarot. That's just a tarot reading. Like that's pretty. I mean, you can't.
Well, no, it doesn't even phrase it that way. It says, spirits provide you with supernatural insight. You conduct an hour-long ritual channeling spirits, which can be done during a short or long rest. Using your spiritual focus, you conduct the ritual with a number of willing creatures. At the end of the ritual, you learn one spell of your choice from any class. The spell you choose must be level equal to your number, blah, 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 mechanical set. It doesn't actually even say you're doing tarot. It says you're just channeling spirits. it looks like the thing they replaced it with was spiritual manifestation is the main thing, which is just you have spirit guardians always prepared. So it says you always have spirit guardians prepared. You can cast the spell once without a spell slot, and you regain the ability to cast it when you finish a long rest. Cast it that way. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so spirits also guard against worldly threats. When you cast it in this way, you and your allies within the spell's emanation have half cover. Once you modify the spell in this way, you can't do so again until you finish a short or long rest. That's kind of fun. So you get a little extra damage and a little extra healing, and you get spirit guardians always prepared. That's better, mechanically speaking. A little less fun flavor-wise, though.
Yeah, that seems to be the ongoing theme, isn't it? Powerful,
with
but
5e24, yes, that is the ongoing theme, absolutely. And then you have Mystical Connection, which is unchanged. Basically, when you roll on your spirit table, you can roll twice and choose whichever die you want to use. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm a little sad about losing Spirit Sessions. I didn't look at the whole Spirits from the Beyond table, so I don't know how much they changed. I may like it less with those. So, little lukewarm on that one, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then we got Grave Domain Cleric, which, I mean,
it was already so good. It was good. Already so good, and they just made it better. And
here's the thing, though. They did have to reprint it because it had a couple of things that just don't function correctly anymore based on the new rules.
Look, I totally get it. This and Twilight Cleric is the bane of every DM's existence, and they made it better.
I don't know if I'd say Grave Domain is that crazy, but
when it dropped, it was really good. Like,
I mean, it's good for sure. So the Grave Domain concerns itself with the boundaries between life and death. To those who tap into this domain's power, death is a foundational, natural, and inevitable part of the multiverse. Such clerics seek to destroy undead and strive to shepherd spirits to the afterlife, whether the spirits want to go or not. The magic of this domain also allows these clerics to stave off death for a time, particularly for those who still have some great work to accomplish in the world. But this is merely a delay of death, not a denial of it. The grave will always claim its due. So, Grave Domain updates. The Grave Domain is from Xanathar's Guide, which feels like 10,000 years ago at this point. Circle of Morality now also grants you a small damage boost against bloodied creatures. That's good. I like that. Grave Domain spells have been updated to include more versatility in combat relevant spells. Interesting. I don't remember what they got before. I'm gonna have to pull that up in a sec. Path to the Grave now produces an ongoing curse effect in addition to boosting the damage of an attack. Oh yeah. Okay. Okay. Sentinel at Death's Door can now trigger on any attack, not just critical hit. Okay.
Yeah.
Divine Reaper is a new feature that absorbs the previous benefits of Keeper of Souls and provides a boost to the cleric's necromancy spells. All right.
Brother, Sentinel at Death's Door is so fucking good. It's actually crazy.
Okay. So, Curse of Mortality. My brain wanted to say morality. Mortality. You gain the ability to manipulate, blah, blah, blah. You gain the following benefits. Once per turn, when you cast a spell or hit with an attack roll and deal damage to a bloodied creature, that takes an extra d4 necrotic damage. I think this was the ability before that made it. Oh, was that not that ability? Oh, no, it wasn't that. Circle of Morality before. Circle of Morality was when you normally roll one or more hit dice to restore hit points with a creature at 0, you roll the max number. In addition, you can cast Spare the Dying at a distance, right? Which is irrelevant now because that's all. Spare the Dying is already at a distance. Return life. When you would normally roll 1 or more dice to restore hit points to a creature at 0 hit points with the spell with a spell or channel divinity, don't roll the dice for the healing. Instead, use the highest number possible. Okay, so you still get that part. Okay, so they took out the spare the dying bit, which makes sense, and instead you get an extra D4 of damage against bloodied creatures. I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Not at all related to the previous ability, even a little bit, but whatever, I guess. Domain spells at level 3, they get Bane, Chill Touch, Detect Evil and Good, Gentle Repose, Ray of Enfeeblement. That's a lot of level 3 spells.
That's a lot of, yeah.
They used to get 2.
Yep, Bane and False Life.
No, at level 1 they got Bane and False Life. At level 3 they got Gentle Repose and Ray of Enfeeblement. Now they get Bane. Right. Oh, you know what it is? It's because clerics
level 3.
Yeah, they don't have a level 1 subclass anymore. That's why. Mm-hmm. That makes sense. That makes more sense. Revivify and Vampiric Touch that's the same. Blight, Dispel Evil and Good. They used to get Death Ward. Okay. And now they get Hold Monster and Raise Dead. They used to have Anti-Life Shell and Raise Dead. I'll take Hold Monster. Also at level 3, Path to the Grave. I don't know why I said it that way. As a bonus action, you present your holy symbol used to channel divinity to curse one creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself until the start of your next turn. While curse, the creature has disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws. I'm sorry, what? Okay. When you or an ally there's more. When you or an ally you can see hit the cursed target with an attack roll, you can end the curse early to make the attack deal extra necrotic or radiant damage equal to D8 plus your cleric. Holy fuck, dude. Wow, okay.
I told you.
Wait, so you can impose disadvantage on attacks and saves, and then if you're like, no, just more damage, you could just pop that for no action.
Yep. Brother.
Wow.
This will be the bane of Dungeon Masters.
Ooh, that's... okay.
How much more damage do you want to do?
Does the pull of death, if they're bloodied, also apply for the extra D4 there? Probably, right?
It probably does, yeah.
When you cast a spell or hit an attack roll and deal damage. Yeah, so if you do it when you or an ally, so if you hit, pop the thing, yeah, you would also get the pull of death damage. So it's a D8 plus cleric level plus a D4. Okay. Mm-hmm. Sentinel at Death Door. When you or a bloody creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself is hit with an attack roll, you can take a reaction to half the attack's damage. You can use this a number of times equal to your wisdom modifier. You regain all expended uses on a long rest. That's pretty good.
Yes. So what this used to do was cancel out crits, but enemies can't crit anymore. So congrats, just half damage, which no, it's still solid.
Incorrect, sir. Enemies can crit again. They didn't stick with that. They didn't stick to that rule.
Okay. So
that
this
was just
is
a playtest.
A little, I mean, it's still good. Probably a little bit better, but it does.
No, it's better because even if it is a crit, you can still half the damage.
Yes.
You can half any attack. That's kind of wild. I mean, that the creature has to be bloodied. Although, do you have to? The wording's a little weird there. When you or a bloodied creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. So if they're hitting you, you don't
any damage.
You could do it at any point.
Bloodied.
Ally needs to be interesting. Okay. Huh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I used to block crits before. All right. And then Divine Reaper. Enhanced Necromancy. When you cast a spell of level 5 or lower from the Necromancy school that targets one creature or a spell from the Grave Domain spells table, you can expend a use of Channel Divinity to target a second creature within the spell's range. If the spell requires costly or consumed material components, you must provide the material components. Okay, so you can split a spell. Sorcerer just over there like, what am I, chopped liver? Keeper of Souls. When an enemy dies within 60 feet of you, you or one creature you can see within 60 feet of yourself regain hit points equal to 3 times your cleric level. Okay, at level 17? You can use this feature. You can't use this if you're incapacitated. Weird that they stipulated that, but okay. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a short or long rest. Okay. That's pretty fucking good.
It is pretty solid, yeah.
Hold on, what's 17 times 3 real quick? 51 HP? That's a good amount of HP. That's like 2 hits at level 17, I would roughly-ish.
Yeah, that's about. Assuming that like a character of the enemy that level is dealing about 30 damage on a hit, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, Grave Domain got juiced.
I told you. It's insane. It's fucking crazy. They called me crazy. Good. I'm not crazy.
I mean, I always liked. I always thought the tone, the vibe of Grave Domain was cool. So I'm fine with this. What was it? Level 17 before? Okay, you can seize a trace of vitality from Parting Soul. When an enemy you see dies within 60 feet of you, you or one creature of your choice that is within 60 feet regains hit points equal to the enemy's number of hit dice. That's a significant jump in the healing.
Yes, sir.
Holy shit. Number of hit dice. So like, even at high level, what, like 15 HP?
Something like that, yeah.
Now it's like 50? When you can use, wow, okay. Yeah, so they just bumped the shit out of, they gave you the enhanced necromancy to split the spell and bump the shit out of the healing. Okay. And at level 20, you're looking at 60 healing. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not against it. I'm a little surprised, but I'm not against it. And then now we go to a new subclass. We have the Ranger Hollow Warden. Thoughts? Initial thought on this one? Just curious.
It's good. It's better than usual. So, I mean. Okay, follow-up question. Thoughts on the theme, the vibe, the tone? Yeah, I mean, I do like that you're like, you're Strider. You're like actually Strider Aragon in the hunt in like Mirkwood. Like, that's a vibe. I like that. Yeah, you're like weird. You're like creepy, like Death Forest Ranger, which I think is interesting. I do really like that when they joke about Master of Combat, this subclass actually can put out
pretty good,
quite good damage.
Yeah.
For fucking once.
Yeah. So legends tell of the most ancient and fearsome terrors lurking within the old places of the earth, unfathomable and bloodthirsty entities of a fallow soil and sharpened claws. Hollow Wardens venerate and draw power from such beings, transforming themselves into similarly merciless and monstrous guardians that stalk along jagged coastlines across steep mountain crags and through other dark and wild places. So this is a new subclass called the Hollow Warden. For the Ranger, as we said. So level 3, they get some Hollow Warden spells. Level 3, they get Wrathful Smite. Level 5, they get Spike Growth, which, why does Ranger not have Spike Growth by default? Okay. Level 9, they get Phantom Steed. I like that. That's cool. Level 13, they get Hallucinatory Terrain, which is another fun one. And level 17, they get the spell Awaken. I don't remember what that spell does. I don't know either. What does Awaken do? We're flying high and dry on this one. Let's just look it up live. Transmutation spell. You spend the casting time tracing magical pathways within a precious gemstone, and then touch the target. Okay. The target must be a beast or plant creature with an intelligence of 3 or less, or a natural plant that isn't a creature. The target gains an intelligence of 10 and the ability to speak one language you know. If the target's a natural plant, it becomes a plant creature and gains the ability to move its limbs, roots, vines, creepers, and so forth. It gains sense similar to humans. The DM chooses stats appropriate for the awakened plant, such as the stats for the awakened shrub, tree, or awakened tree in the monster manual. The The awakened target has the charm condition for 30 days or until you or your allies deal damage to it. When that condition ends, the awakened creature chooses its attitude towards you. Interesting. Okay. Huh. I don't know about that spell. It's an intriguing spell. All right. Then we have also at level 3, Wrath of the Wild. When you cast Hunter's Mark, you transform, gaining the following benefits for the duration of the spell. Oh, it's tied to Hunter's Mark again.
Yes, sir.
Fucking Captain Hunter's Mark strikes again. Fly away, kids. Captain Hunter's Mark has struck again. Fucking, I can't, dude. I can't with the Hunter's Mark thing. It's crazy. Ancient Armor. You gain a You gain a bonus to your AC equal to your Wisdom modifier, minimum +1, as your body is wreathed in rotten bark and beastly bristles. I like the mental image of that a lot. That's aesthetically very cool.
Yeah.
Unnerving Aura. When an enemy starts its turn within a 10-foot emanation originating from you, it makes a Wisdom saving throw against your spell save DC. On a failed save, it can either take an action or a bonus action, not both. Your shadows lengthen and twist around you, or you sprout unnatural growths like bloody antlers or putrid fangs. They're leaning into this is the creepy ranger.
Mm-hmm.
Hungering Might. You gain a bonus to con saves equal to your Wisdom modifier, minimum +1. In addition, once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack roll, you are transformed using Wrath of the Wild. You regain a number of hit points equal to a D10 plus your Wisdom modifier, provided you are bloodied when you hit. I will say I do like that they're using bloodied as a conditional modifier for things. That's cool.
Yes, it's fantastic.
It's good that it's actually getting utilized. And it's good because it lets you make an ability that's a little bit stronger that you can use consistently, because you can't use it all the time, right? You have to be in a certain state. Rot. Just like the name of this ability. Rot and Violence. All right. Your dedication to Eldritch Forest beings alters you further. When you transform with using Wrath of the Wild, you gain the following additional benefits. Eerie Aura. When a creature fails its saving throw against your Unnerving Aura, it also takes necrotic, poison, or psychic damage, your choice, equal to your ranger level, and this damage ignores resistance. Cool, like that. Not a ton of damage, but still a little extra damage is a little extra damage. That's fine. You know, if it's like an aura or a passive thing like this, the extra damage being not that big, I understand. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I get it.
That's a fair way to go about it. Strangling Roots. When you hit a creature with an attack using a weapon, you can activate the Sap or Slow mastery property in addition to a different mastery property you're using with that weapon. So essentially, you always have the Sap or Slow property. Sap or Slow weapon mastery property. And then Ancient Endurance. Persistent Hunt. If you drop to 0 HP, this is their level 15 ability. If you drop to 0 HP while transformed using your Wrath of the Wild and don't die outright, you can expend a level 4 plus spell slot, no action. Your hit points then instead change to amount equal to 5 times the level of the spell slot expended. So you just if you have spell slots, you just don't die. You're like, no, you can't kill me. Sorry.
This is Captain Hunter's Mark, and we need to roast it for that.
It is.
I think we really should take a step back and praise this subclass for making Ranger even a little bit fucking cool. Like, I read this the first time, it was like, fuck, this is kind of cool.
It's a pretty cool one. It is.
It's just better. This is okay. I have to go off on a faff for a second.
Uh-huh.
This is so cool that it makes me fucking mad, because it proves that the writers have the capacity to do cool shit.
To make a cool
that's
Ranger.
On brand, that feels correct, not fucking cartographer, something that feels game changing and like conducive to narrative play, right? They can do it. They've proven with this that they can do it, and they made Ranger of all things fucking cool. Give us more.
I think
I need to know who is the one who's holding them back, and I want that person hit with a brick.
About Ranger specifically?
About all the classes, about making them cool and feel on brand. I want to find this person, and I will pay someone to hit them with a brick every time they walk into the fucking Wizards building.
The funny thing about Ranger is I feel like Ranger subclasses are an equal amount of cool and shitty, you know? Like, you have Beastmaster, which is like, I want it to be cool, but isn't that cool. But you also have Drake Warden, which is fucking sick. And like, you have Fey Wanderer, which is like, it's all right. But you have Gloomstalker, which is pretty sick. You have Horizon Walker, which is okay, but like Hunter's pretty cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Swarm Keeper is a little weird, but like Monster Slayer, I'm into, you know. It's so 50-50 with Ranger, it feels like.
Yeah, it just...
But you're right, like the thematic energy, the concept of like what this Ranger should be, and then the mechanics that it has feel like they line up pretty well, right? The eerie aura causing fear and increasing damage is good. The strangling roots, because you're this weird like eldritch forest being, so you're causing the plants to wrap around shit, like sick. Yes, love that. I mean, the unnerving aura forcing them to have to make, like, limiting their actions because they're like bothered by you, and they could have just had it given the frightened condition, but I like that they made it a different thing, you know?
Yeah.
I like that it's not just the frightened condition. The ancient armor feels very on brand because you're covered in the vines and leaves and shit to protect you. This feels like it's intended to be a very melee focused hunter ranger also. Mm-hmm. Also they get an ability called Timeless where they're just immune to the exhaustion condition. Just totally immune, can't get tired. Just not like crazy powerful, but a fun thematic thing.
Yeah, like it is a fun ranger. Like,
also the persistent hunt is cool because they're kind of vibing on the wild hunt idea of like you're just this eternal hunter. They mentioned it with like the oh god, I never remember his name, the guy who does the interviews. I feel so bad. I like that guy so much. The dude with the glasses. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah. Why can't I think of his name either? Todd Kendrick? Todd Kendrick, yes. He brought it up. He was like Norse mythology, and my immediate thought was the Wild Hunt. So yeah. Yeah. Actually, so you know what this reminds me of? It's a little too magical, but this feels like the Van Helsing. Like Van Helsing, the 2008 movie with Hugh Jackman, Van Helsing. Like obviously it's way more magical. It's just like, cause you're like the ranger of the forest hunting the monsters. Like you just feel like this, trench coat wearing, fucking trench coat. You feel like the dude with the wide brimmed hat who's out there to stalk the forest and kill the evil monster. You feel it's a little Alucard, Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I did just have the idea as you were saying that of playing oh god, what's the species? The Reborn? Yes. The Reborn plus this ranger, that would be cool. Actually, okay, a better comparison, this feels very Vampire Hunter D. I have not watched that anime. Oh, you would love that. I know. You're the Tim Burton guy and you haven't seen Vampire Hunter D? I have not. I know. It's one of those ones I've always heard about and haven't seen. Oh, dude, I feel pretty confident knowing what shit's up your alley at this point. Yeah, I've heard. I know it's an edge fest, which, yeah. It's not even edge. It's gorgeous to look at. It's all fucking gothic in like the best way possible. D's like a Chad. He's got like a weird mouth in his hand that talks shit to him. It's great. But yes, the idea. Did you not know about the tumor mouth hand? I didn't know. Oh, I'll find a picture while you're talking about the Phantom. Well, I was just gonna say the idea of the reborn hunter, but instead of being instead of being like a zombie person, you're like a person who died in the forest and turned into like a weird tree being.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're this hunter who stalks around, like this ranger who stalked around the forest as the weird magic tree being. Like, a subclass is good when you look at the subclass and it gives you a bunch of character like ideas right away.
Yeah,
that
like
means it's doing
it,
its
you
job.
look at it and go,
yeah,
I have something. Like, again,
yeah.
That's for me with the undead companion. I looked at it and went, no, I understand now.
Yeah, you immediately like, I have an idea for this. That's good. Yeah, so then we have the Rogue Phantom. So this one's another reprint. It says it came from Tasha's Cauldron, but I thought the Phantom came from Van Richten's.
Let us see. Rogue 2024.
What?
Phantom, Tasha's Cauldron, everything. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Maybe it was reprinted in Van Richten's?
Maybe. Oh, that hand homunculus is awful looking. What the
fuck? It's really gross, isn't it? Here, let me check Van Richten's guide.
Van Richten's guide. All right. So the Phantom Rogue, as we said, reprint. Some rogues walk along the veil between life and death, shepherding opponents to the grave and slipping through the world as undetectable as a spirit. In these pursuits, a rogue might discover a mystical connection to death itself, such an individual becomes immersed in negative energy, infusing their strikes with deathly energy and stealing knowledge from souls who have passed on. Thieves guilds value rogues of this persuasion as highly effective information gatherers and spies. Basically, you're a rogue who talks to dead people and that gets extra cool powers from the dead people. In terms of changes, Wails from the Grave now links its number of uses to the rogue's dex mod. Tokens of the Departed now provide soul trinkets whenever you finish a long rest, allowing for more reliable usage of this benefit, which I do understand because before the way it worked is you needed something to die within, I think it was within 30 feet of you, which is somewhat limiting. I'm actually going to double check. Tokens of the Departed, as a reaction, when a creature you can see dies within 30 feet of you. Yeah, so. Voices of Death is a new feature that allows you to cast Speak with Dead, and Death's Friend now lets you gain a soul trinket when you roll initiative if you have no soul trinkets. So, Wails from the Grave, when you deal a sneak attack, you can deal another sneak attack basically to another creature within 30 feet of the first one. Roll half the number of sneak attack dice for your level, round up, and the second creature takes necrotic damage equal to the roll's total as Wails of the Dead momentarily sound around them. Whispers of the Dead, when you finish a short or long rest, you can choose one skill or tool proficiency you lack and gain it as a ghostly presence shares its knowledge with you. You lose this proficiency when you use this benefit again or choose a different one. Tokens of the Departed at level 9. Tokens of the Departed is kind of their main shtick, which is a little annoying because you get it at level 9, but Whenever you finish a long rest, you gain 2 soul trinkets. Each soul trinket is a tiny object. The DM determines the trinket's form or has you roll on the trinket table. These trinkets last until you finish another long rest, at which point they disappear or disintegrate. If you ever move more than 30 feet from a trinket, the trinket immediately teleports to you, appearing somewhere on your person. The number of soul trinkets you gain when you finish a long rest increases when you reach 13th level and 17th level. It goes from 2 to 3 to 4. What can you do with them? When you deal sneak attack damage on your turn, you can expend a soul trinket and immediately use Wails from the Grave without expending a use of that feature. That expended trinket is destroyed, so it gives you an extra one. Life's Essence, when you have at least one soul trinket, you have advantage on death saving throws and con saving throws, which is cool because not many things give you death saving throw advantage. That's a pretty rare ability, so that's a fun one. Spirit Curry, when you take the magic action to expend a soul trinket and immediately cast the Augury spell requiring no spell components, and use your Dex mod as the spellcasting modifier, the trinket the expended trinket is destroyed. That was a tongue twister, apparently. Also, when a creature you can see within 30 feet of you dies, you can still do the reaction to regain 1 expended soul trinket. So you can still do the soul steal thing, which is cool, but you can also do it on a long rest. So you have a little more flexibility on that.
This is one of those things where this is kind of the caveat to what I generally believe about making things harder. Because, like, I don't know, this just feels different than the finding corpse parts, right? You know what I mean? Like, if you wanted to, as the artificer, you could, like, go to the graveyard and rob some graves, and that's how you could make your homunculus thing.
Yeah.
But this very specifically requires murder. So the fact that they give you a couple more options to get them, so you're not, like, shanking hobos, because, like, that's something you definitely don't want, right? Just mindless killing for your class features.
Yeah.
No good. So it feels like they recognize that could be an issue, and we're like, okay, we will sort of make things easier this time in a way that is conducive. Yeah.
That being said, it is D&D, so having something die within 30 feet of you is not that hard.
No, but this is like if you're doing water deep.
Right.
You don't want the hobo shanker of the party.
True. Yeah. At level 9, you get Voices of the Dead. You can cast Speak with Dead once without a spell slot, requiring no components, and using your Dex mod as a spell casting modifier, which is... I know why they're doing it. It just feels weird to be like, my dexterity make me good at the magic.
Yeah, I mean, this we talked about this a while ago, right? Of like,
it's a mechanical thing. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But
it's kind of funny.
I feel like now that we have the D&D movie, I expect, and I'm looking out there, fucking GMs, I'm looking at each of you in the eyes. If you make Speak with Dead useless, knowing that we have the D&D movie to go off of,
true.
Fuck you personally.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm so tired of seeing fucking Reddit stories about, or just posts about Speak with Dead being a useless spell. It doesn't need to be if your GM isn't dumb.
Yeah, I mean,
don't be dumb.
Yeah. You regain the ability to cast the Voice with Dead when you finish a short or long rest. Level 13, you get Ghost Walk. I don't think they had this one before. Or did they? Hold on.
Ghost Walk.
Oh, they did.
Yeah,
they did. Never mind. So you assume you activate your best Danny Phantom impression and you go Ghost for 10 minutes or until you end it. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, or unless you expend and destroy one of your soul trinkets from the tokens of the departed. You gain flight. You can fly you gain a fly speed of 10 feet and can hover. Attack rolls have disadvantage against you because you're going ghost, you're incorporeal. And incorporeal movement, you can move through occupied spaces as if they were difficult terrain. If you end in that space, you take some force damage. Unfortunately, you can't fire your ghost hand lasers like Danny Phantom. Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Death's Friend. At level 17, your cap ability. When you use your Whales from the Grave feature, you can deal necrotic damage to both the first and the second creature. That's fine. I guess it's okay. Draw of Death. When you roll initiative, you regain 1 soul trinket for your tokens of the departed if you have none. Also, it's okay. Capstone's a little weak on Phantom Rogue. But it doesn't bother me too much because the rest of Phantom Rogue is good, so I can kind of let it go, you know?
Yeah, you gotta let something slide.
Yeah.
Every time I think about Phantom, I've made this joke on podcast before, I just think of the Emperor Detect speech device when Magnus summons the little, like, spectral version. And he's just like, I'm a girl. Such a dumb bit, but it makes me laugh every time I hear it.
Correct, it is a dumb bit. Then we have Shadow Sorcerer, or Shadow Sorcery, as it's now called, because they renamed all of the sorcerers to something sorcery. Your innate magic comes from the Shadowfell itself. You might trace your lineage to an entity from that place, or perhaps you're exposed to the Shadowfell's sinister energy and were transformed by it. Your shadowy magic allows you to command darkness, undeath, and woe with ease, blah, blah, blah. This one is also a reprint from Xanathar's, which again was basically 10,000 years ago. Eyes of the Dark. Huh?
Thank God for Eyes of the Dark.
Yeah. Eyes of the Dark now also grants you blind sight and the ability to see through darkness of any spell you cast. Because hilariously, you could just blind yourself before.
How is that? That's a crazy fucking oversight. The fact that Shadow Monk and Shadow Sorcery, you could not see into your own darkness. Well, how does that come about?
Slight footnote on that one. So the original wording was, when you reach 3rd level, you learn the darkness spell, which doesn't count against sorcerer spells known. In addition, you can cast it by spending 2 sorcery points or by expending a spell slot. If you cast it with sorcery points, you can see through the darkness created by the spell. So you could do it on the sorcerer, but it required sorcery points.
Why would you make that distinction?
Yeah,
You're still casting the fucking spell.
Yeah, I agree. It's dumb. That one's dumb.
And so, fucking Monk doesn't have that at all.
No, Monk didn't have that at all. The Shadow Spells change is a new feature that provides a list of always prepared spells because, reminder, some sorcerers had always prepared spells and some didn't. Yep. For some fucking reason. If I remember correctly, though, that still might be the case. Hold on. I'm going to grab my book. 1 second.
I guess I have to keep things interesting right now.
No.
Oh, never mind.
Don't worry. I'm here, but I do want to flip to Sorcerer real quick because okay, well, I can't. Book hard to flip through. Hold on. All right, what page? Where's Sorcerer? 138. All right. I am physically flipping through an actual physical book here, kids. So we have to wait a second as I flipped too far. So the sorcerers we got in the player's handbook for 2024 were Aberrant Sorcery, which does get a spell list. We got Clockwork Sorcery, which does Draconic Sorcery, and then Wild Magic. Okay. So Wild Magic does not get, specific spells to it, but because it's wild magic, you effectively get access to a whole bunch of extra spells anyway because of the wild magic table. So I do kind of understand that. So it seems like they are going to generally stick with the idea that the sorcerer subclasses now get extra spells. Before, several of them did not for some goddamn fucking reason. Okay, so we have addressed that problem. Thank God. All right, so Shadow Sorcerer was one of the ones that did not get extra spells before.
Weird, once again, weird oversight that.
For some reason, they were under the impression sorcerers didn't need the extra spells, even though all the other spellcasters get like subclass specific spells. I don't know, whatever. Spirits of Ill Omen, which was formerly Hound of Ill Omen, now uses the Summon Undead spell. That's mostly fine because the Hound had a bunch of specific rules and shit on it anyway, so like that's not a huge deal.
Yeah, annoying that we're relying on spells again, but for what it is, this is more tolerable.
Normally that would bug me, but in this case, I kind of get it.
Yeah.
Because the Hound was a little, like, not amazing. Umbral Form, which is their capstone, now gives you 1 free use of the form per long rest. Strength of the Grave has been improved and moved to the benefits of this form. I don't remember what that ability did, so we'll get there in a second. All right, so level 3, Eyes of the Dark, like we said, you have dark vision out to 120 feet and blind sight within a range of 10 feet. In addition, if a spell you cast creates an area of darkness, you can see through that spell's darkness. End of discussion. The shadow spells they get at level 3, Bane, Darkness, Inflict Wounds, Pass Without a Trace. Yes, all right. Level 5, they get Hunger of Hadar, Summon Undead. Good, solid ones. 7, they get greater invisibility and phantasmal killer. Those are really good. Level 9, they get contagion and creation. Contagion's a solid spell. I don't remember what creation does off the top of my head.
Creation, it's similar to fabricate. It lets you just create a number of organic and inorganic materials. They don't last forever though, so you have to kind of like make them and then immediately use them as a component or something before they go away. I think you get like maximum 10 minutes for some things.
So Spirits of Ill Omen, you can now cast Summon Undead without a material component. You can also cast it once without a spell slot, which you regain on a long rest. Whenever you start casting the spell, you can modify it so that it doesn't require concentration. If you do so, the spell's duration becomes 1 minute for that casting, and the spell ends early if you cast it again. That is a different subclass also got that, where it was like you can forego the concentration for a limited time on the summoning. I don't remember who it was though.
Yeah. Yes, I remember that being a thing, but I also do not 100% remember.
It might have been Draconic Sorcerer. I'm not sure. That's good. I mean, that's fine. Yeah, I'm fine with that. Replacing the Hound of Ill Omen. I will say Spirits of Ill Omen doesn't sound as cool as Hound of Ill Omen.
It does not.
But the way the Hound works before, as a bonus action, you spend 3 sorcery points to summon a Hound of Ill Omen to target one creature you can see within 120 feet of you. The Hound uses Direwolf stats with the following changes. Its size medium, not large. It counts as a monstrosity, not a beast. It appears with 10 hit points equal to half your sorcerer level. It can move through other creatures and objects as if they were difficult terrain. The Hound takes 5 force damage if it ends in turn inside an object. At the start of its turn, the Hound automatically knows its target location. If the target was hidden, it is no longer hidden from the Hound. So you do kind of miss out on the Hound sniffing people out thing. But other than that, the Summon Undead pretty much covers the same basis.
That does suck because that's good flavor, but yeah, it's fair.
That is good flavor of the Hound being able to like find hidden enemies. I do kind of like that. Summon Undead, I'm actually going to pull up Summon Undead real quick. Just out of curiosity. Undead Spirit, blah, 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 initiative. Yeah, what's the Undead Spirit like stat block got? Festering Aura. Oh, that's right. The Undead Spirit, you can make the Ghost or the Putrid. It has Grave Bolt, Rotting Claw. Yeah. Make a con save. Any creature that you starts its turn within 5 feet of it. The creature is poisoned, or the ghost. Pass through the creature and objects. If it ends its turn inside the object, it is shunted to the nearest occupied space. Yeah. Yeah, so you miss out on the tracking thing, which is a little unfortunate. But other than that, it is, I would say, a little more versatile. And then you get the Shadow Walk ability at level 14. When you're in dim light or darkness, you can use a bonus action to teleport. That's the same. And then you have Umbral Form. As a bonus action, you adopt a shadowy form. Gain the benefits below for 1 minute, or until you have the incapacitated condition. I will just little side thing. I do kind of understand why, but I feel like calling incapacitated a condition is just a little funny. I don't know.
No, yeah, I mean, because you have the unconscious, incapacitated two separate.
No, I don't even mean that. I just think it's a funny sentence to be like, you got the dead condition, bud. You're like, yeah. Like it's just, I don't know. It just sounds funny.
They made incapacitated a little more like cohesive because you can like talk now, like you can sort of do things.
That's true.
Whereas before you're just sort of like having a seizure, being completely useless to the world.
Right. Once you use this feature, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest, unless you spend 6 sorcery points. Which at level 18 you have. Oh, that's right. Sorcery points are 1-to-1. So you have 18 sorcery points. So 6 is not that much. Incorporeal movement, you can move through occupied spaces if they're difficult terrain. You can do the ghost thing. You have resistance to shadowy resilience. You have resistance to all damage except force and radiant. That's pretty good. You're not going to be getting hit with a lot of force and radiant damage very often. And then Strength of the Grave. If you would drop to 0 HP and not die outright, you can make a Charisma save. DC is 5 plus half the damage taken. If you succeed, your hit points instead change to a number equal to 3 times your sorcerer level. That's not terrible, however, DC of 5 plus half the damage you're taking at level 18, you're taking some pretty chunky hits.
Yeah.
So that's going to be kind of a tough DC to beat sometimes, I feel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
not like impossible. 5 plus half, like not impossible, but you do take some pretty chunky hits. So I don't know. That might be a little hard to beat sometimes. So Shadow Sorcerer. Honestly, the biggest upgrade is the shadow spells.
Yes.
The additional spells. That's the main thing. The Hound of Hill Omen is like you lost something, you gained something, it became spirits. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, and then Umbra Form got a slight upgrade. Yeah. So Shadow Sorcerer's fine. Then we get to the last subclass is Hexblade Warlock.
Not the last one. We get Undead underneath it.
I forgot
Warlock
about Undead Warlock.
Yeah.
Hexblade Warlock, though.
This is my utter disappointment.
Kind of a weird. Yeah. First of all, I didn't think we were gonna get Hexblade Warlock. That was my first thing, right? Like, I thought Hexblade was off the table because of the changes to Pact of the Blade and stuff, and the way that some of the invocation changes. I just didn't expect to get Hexblade back. But we did, and it's not terrible, but it's definitely different.
It's just if Rangers, Captain Hunter's Mark is just Captain Hex. Yeah,
it's Captain Hex.
I get it. It's a Hexblade. Like
well, here's the thing. It was kind of Captain Hex before, but now they have leaned into it further.
Yeah, well, I mean, they haven't solved the problem that the Hex spell isn't very good other than
yeah.
the extra damage is good. That's fine, but it still has this annoying ribbit ability that is, practically speaking, I'm not going to say it's useless, but it's not very useful.
Yeah. So, changes. You get the Hexblade spells. Formally expanded spell list now gives you a list of always prepared spells. These spells have been the spells granted have been revised. They did this with all the warlocks. Warlocks now get free spells, which they technically didn't before. I think a lot of people assumed warlocks got free extra spells with their subclasses. They didn't. They got the option to pick those spells. They did not get them for free before, which is crazy because literally everyone else got their spells for free.
Yeah, it was an active thing you had to do, which is
you had to decide.
Beyond goofy.
Such a weird choice. It was like you can pick from a few more things, but you don't just get them, bud. Like what? Hexblade Manifest is a new feature allowing you to cast a hex number of times without a spell slot. It also grants you a handful of unique ways to interact with your cursed target. Lifestealer is a new feature that interacts with the hex spell to provide healing and reliable damage. Armor of Hexes now more reliably reduces damage taken. Masterful Hex is now a feature that boosts the power of the Hexblade Manifest. I will say one thing I think is funny. It's called Hexblade. Nothing in the subclass specifies that you need a blade of any kind.
Yeah, they talk about it a lot about it being a sword. It doesn't actually.
A sword.
It could be a mace, a hammer.
It could be a bow. Because none of them specify melee attack or a type of damage or anything. It's just an attack. End of discussion. Which is weird. So Hexblade spells, you get Arcane Vigor, which I think is actually a new spell. You get Hex, you get Magic Weapon, Shield, Wrathful Spite. Those are pretty good spells at level 3, actually.
Pretty solid.
Level 5, Conjure Barrage that's a choice. Okay. And Dispel Magic. Conjure Barrage is really
Is Conjure Barrage, is it like the fucking anime Silver Chariot stabs? Is that what they were like?
Well, Conjure Barrage specifies, they did change how Conjure Barrage works. You stick a ethereal, what's the word? I'm actually going to look it up because the reason I know this is because I played with the new Conjure Barrage when I was playing, Rannoch. So Conjure Barrage now says you brandish the weapon used to cast the spell and conjure similar spectral weapons or ammunition that launch forward and then disappear. So it can be you conjure a bunch of magic arrows, but it can also be you conjure spectral copies of your sword and shoot those forward.
Yes, you're doing the anime million stab thing.
Kind of. I imagine it like you're doing the Red Mage in Final Fantasy XIV thing where you summon the flechette swords and they shoot out and stab the opponent like magic swords.
Yeah.
That's what I think of. So yeah, Conjure Barrage and Dispel Magic. Conjure Barrage is a little weird. Freedom of movement, I guess, and Staggering Smite. At level 9, they get Animate Objects.
I'm assuming to animate swords. Like to make dancing blades.
I guess. And then Steel Wind Strike. I guess Animate Objects is a weird one, but sure.
Steel Wind Strike, I love. That's one of my favorite spells.
Steel Wind Strike is awesome because you just turn into Virgil. Level 3, you get the Hexblade Manifest. Hexblade's Curse. You can cast Hex without expending a spell slot a number of times equal to your Charisma modifier, which is good because you're a Warlock, so obviously you're very limited on spell slots. And you regain all expended uses when you finish a long rest. When you cast Hex, a spectral weapon resembling your patron orbits the cursed target. Your patron orbits the cursed target. Weird little add-on they threw there, but sure. Hexblade Maneuvers. Once per turn, when you hit a cursed target with your Hex... What? Once per turn, when you hit a target cursed by your Hex with an attack roll, any attack roll, you can cause one of the additional effects. Draining Slash. The target makes a con save against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the target can't make opportunity attacks and its speed is halved until the start of your next turn. Sure. All right, fine. Harrowing Blade. The target makes a wisdom save against your spell save DC. On a failed save, the next time the target makes an attack roll against a creature other than you, before the start of your next turn, the target takes necrotic damage equal to your charisma modifier. Stymieing Mark. The target has disadvantage on your next saving throw it makes before the start of your next turn. On the next saving throw. So you can actually debuff saving throws now with Hexblade specifically. Oh no, you could do that before actually. Never mind. You could do that before. Because they added the extra rider to the Hex spell that it gave disadvantage to saving throws. I do like the Hexblade Maneuvers. I like that you can make a choice to decide how you want to implement it. That's cool. I'm a fan of that. Let's see what else we got here. Life Stealer. Whenever a target cursed by your Hungering Hex, whenever a target cursed by your Hex drops to 0 HP, you regain hit points equal to D8 plus your Charisma modifier. I think that's better healing, isn't it? You can cause... Oh, that's right. They had that weird Accursed Spectre ability where they could make a Spectre out of a dead body before. That was not very useful. Did they not? Wait, could they not lifesteal before? Couldn't they lifesteal before? Am I tripping?
That was...
Oh, maybe that was from the Hex spell that I'm thinking of?
No, it wasn't from the Hex spell. I think it was an invocation.
Oh, maybe that's what it was. Inevitable Blade is the other one from level 6. Once per turn, you can make an attack roll against the target cursed by your Hex and miss. What? If you make an attack roll against the target cursed by your Hex and you miss, you can deal necrotic damage to that creature equal to your charisma modifier. So you can just deal some guaranteed damage once per turn if you miss, that's cool. I like that. It's a fun little touch. Armor of Hexes. When you take damage at level 10, Armor of Hexes, when you take damage from a cursed target of your Hex, you can take a reaction to reduce the damage taken by an amount equal to 2d8 plus your charisma modifier. You can use this feature a number of times equal to your charisma modifier and regain uses on a long rest. And then lastly, you have Masterful Hex. At level 14. Accursed Hex, any critical roll attack you make against a cursed target gets a crit on a 19 or a 20. Infectious Hex, when you use one of your Hexblade maneuvers, you can target an additional creature within 30 feet of the cursed target. The additional target takes a d6 necrotic damage. And Resilient Hex, taking damage can't break your concentration. So they're really leaning into your hex. You hex the guy, and then you can do all this extra shit when you hit him. I'm a little bit of two minds on this one. Like, on one hand, I get it. It opens up some of the options for how you could play a Hexblade, but it does feel like you've lost a little bit of the flavor of the Hexblade. And you don't get any of the armor proficiency or the melee weapon, and it's still called Hexblade, but you don't actually have to use a blade in any sense. That's really weird to me. I don't know. It feels a little messy right now. Is that how you're feeling?
Yeah. Like, it did some things that I like. Not what I expected, but that's not even that true. Like, it has Battle Master maneuvers now, which I'm just like,
kinda.
Again, like, I'm happy
Sorta.
that classes are getting more like abilities if they're melee focused, but again, it just still steals from the Battle Master, makes that feel less unique.
Well, they're not maneuvers the way that the Battle Master has them, though. They're pretty different.
No, I mean, they're closer to maneuvers in the way that like the Barbarian has them.
Kinda, yeah, I guess that's true.
It's really just the massive reliance on Hex that I'm like a little frustrated by.
It does feel like an over. Yeah, because Hexblade before, the previous incarnation of Hexblade leaned into the Hex and the blade part in equal parts, it felt like, whereas now it's like just about the Hex. It almost, but they kept it. I feel like they should rename it to, I don't know, Hex Warrior or something.
Yeah.
Keeping the name Blade in there really bugs me. I don't know why that bugs me so much, but it does. And then the Hex armor, the armor of Hex's thing, before, if the target cursed by your Hexblade's curse hits you with an attack roll, you can use your reaction to roll a d6 on a 4 or higher. The hit misses you. Now it's just reducing the damage. I don't know. That's similar enough, I suppose. It's 2d8 plus your charisma modifier, reducing the damage. Like, sure, that one's fine, I suppose. It's weird. It's like they kind of are implying they still want this to be a melee warlock, but not 100%. You know, like they're still leaving it a little open-ended on if you want to focus melee or not. So yeah. Yeah, I don't really know what to make of it. I don't know. Like, I like the maneuvers. Yeah, I guess it is just the over-reliance on the Hex spell itself that feels frustrating. Yeah.
That's really what it is for me. It just kind of...
There's like too much based on one spell. Yeah. But that being said, as a warlock, you get pretty limited spells, so throwing out a spell and then getting a whole bunch of stuff out of it kind of makes sense. To a point, right? Like, there's a logic there. I kind of see it. Okay, now the last one is the Undead Patron, which is another reprint. This one is also from Van Richten's guide. You've made a pact with a creature that defies the cycle of life and death, a powerful lich, a vampire, or some or other entity of undeath. Having once been mortal themselves, these ancient patrons know firsthand the paths of ambition and the routes past the doors of death. They eagerly share their profane knowledge along with other secrets with those who work their will among the living. So with the undead, this is the warlock from Van Richten's that's about, undead things. Undead spells, same as with the Hexblade and all the others, you now get extra spells like you should have. Grave Touch now allows your spells and attacks to ignore resistance to necrotic damage, which makes sense given the way that resistance has sort of changed because we're taking magical damage out of this game. Necrotic Husk no longer requires an action to use its secondary feature or reaction, and it restores you to a number of hit points equal to 10 times your charisma mod. And then Superior Dread is a new feature that improves your form of dread, allowing you to fly, regain hit points, and improve your spellcasting. I feel like you would have liked the flying one quite a bit in our campaign.
Yes, I would have. It would have made all of the bullshit I had to do to get flying a lot,
Yes.
a lot easier now, wouldn't it?
Substantially easier.
Yeah. Y'all don't get it. I worked on my undead warlock because I was like, okay, I need him to have the Grim Reaper vibe. It's got to be perfect. I need like my dark angel wings that I can fly with. And I built it and went, oh, I can't fly. And then Josh was like, oh, well, you can fly in certain situations for free. And I was like, okay, good. But not all situations. So I still have to work on this.
Yeah. Also, little aside. Interesting, we got 2 warlock subclasses. I just realized that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that surprised. Warlock is supposed to be the creepy,
True. Good point. So, Form of Dread, which is your turning into your dreadful patron's avatar thing. As a bonus action, you turn into an avatar, blah, 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 gaining the benefits for a minute until you have the incapacitated edition. Transform a number of times, issue your charisma modifier, yada, yada. Okay. Facsimile of Life, you gain temporary hit points equal to 1d10 plus your warlock level. And then Frightful Avatar, you have immunity to the frightful condition. Additionally, once per turn, when you hit a creature with an attack roll, you can force it to make a wisdom save. On a failed save, the target has the frightened condition. Bing, bang, boom. All right. Undead spells, they get blindness and deafness these are level 3 spells. Blindness, deafness, false life, phantasmal force, ray of sickness. All pretty good.
I've always hated the spell name blindness, deafness.
Yeah, it's not a great name.
Just call it deafen or blind. Like,
yeah,
blindness / deafness. Just that doesn't feel like right, because all these spells are
a
written
wizard
in
writing
universe.
them down.
Yeah. So he's like, I will name this blindness, deafness. So it blinds them and deafens them. No, it like you can choose.
You could choose.
So why not so why isn't it blindness or deafness? Well, there's a slash. How do you say a slash? Well, you don't. You just kind of know that it's there. This is a terrible name.
I just imagine Mordenkainen talking to like the wizard who invented the spell, and he's like, bro, you got to come up with a better name. Oh yeah, what do you call your spells? Mordenkainen's Magnificent Mansion. All right, that's a pretty good one. You're right.
Damn, that is pretty good shit.
That's pretty good. At level 5, the undead warlock gets Speak with Dead and Vampiric Touch. Very funny to think about the fact that they didn't before.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, I think they could. Well, actually, I'm gonna look at their old spell list expansion. Could they choose those two? They could choose Speak with Dead, but not Vampiric Touch. Level 7, they get Death Ward and Phantasmal Killer, and then level 9, they get Anti-Life Shell and Cloud Kill. Hell yeah, Cloud Kill. Funny enough, they used to get Phantom Steed. They don't get Phantom Steed anymore.
That is a bit of a shame. It's a good one.
A little bit. Level 6, Grave Touch. You get an ability called Arcane Necrosis. When you cast a spell or hit a creature with an attack roll and deal necrotic damage, the damage dealt ignores resistance. And then you, additionally, once per turn, when you cast a spell that deals damage while in your Form of Dread, you can change the spell's damage type to necrotic. That used to be a reaction to turn it into necrotic damage, which is kind of a dumb thing to burn your reaction on.
Yeah. I'm happy that it just sort of does it now.
Yeah. Undead Endurance, you don't gain exhaustion levels from dehydration, malnutrition, or suffocation. In addition, you don't need to sleep, and magic can't put you to sleep. Level 10, that one's unchanged. Level 10, you get Necrotic Husk. You have resistance to necrotic damage. While using your Form of Dread, you have immunity to necrotic damage, which is cool. Shame necrotic doesn't come up that much. Unholy Resuscitation. When you drop to 0 HP and don't die outright, you could cause your body to erupt with deathly energy. Each creature of your choice in a 30-foot emanation originating from you makes a con save against your spell save DC, taking necrotic damage equal to 2d10 plus your warlock level on a failed save, or half on a success. Your hit points then change to 10 times your charisma mod, and you gain 1 level of exhaustion. Once you use this benefit, you can't use it again until you finish a long rest. Yeah, basically you die, you explode when you die is the crux of that one. That was the same as before. I think the only thing that changed is you get more HP back when you pop up now.
Yes.
And then at level 14, you get Superior Dread. What was their old level 14 ability, actually? Now I'm checking. You got Spirit Protection. So the old one, as an action, you can project your spirit from your body. The body you leave behind is unconscious in a state of suspended animation. Your spirit resembles your mortal form, replicating game stats but not possessions. Any damage or other effects, yada yada. Your spirit can remain outside your body for an hour or until your concentration's broken. When the projection ends, your spirit returns to your body, blah blah blah. While projecting, your spirit and body gain resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, slashing. When you cast the spell Conjuration Necromancy School, the spell doesn't require verbal or somatic components. You have a flying speed, you can clear walking speed, and can hover. You can move through creatures like a ghost. Otherwise, you take the force damage thingy. If you stop, you take the force damage thing if you stop in the same space as something else. While using your form of dread, once during each of your turns, when you deal necrotic damage to a creature, you regain hit points equal to half the amount of your necrotic damage dealt. Yeah, that was kind of a weird one, huh?
A bit.
Yeah. So now the new one, level 14, is Superior Dread. You have a flying speed equal to your movement speed, and you can hover. Cool. When you cast a warlock spell from Conjuration or Necromancy School, you can cast it without verbal, somatic, or material components, except for the material components that are consumed by a spell. And Vitality Siphon, once per turn, when you deal necrotic damage to a creature, you regain hit points equal to your Charisma modifier. So basically, they took the Spirit Projection one and just made it a little less clunky and a little more straightforward. They upgraded your form of dread, which makes sense because the form of dread is kind of your main thing. That's the last subclass. Yeah, it seems like Undead Patron. I mean, Undead Patron Warlock was already pretty solid, so it didn't need a ton of love. So a little extra love to just spruce it up a little, I'm fine with.
This is kind of what I expected from Grave Domain. This is the updating that I thought we were going to get.
That's fair.
It is not what we got.
Instead, we got that bitch spruced up. Spicy Grave Domain.
We threw some spinning rims on that bitch. I don't know what you mean spruced up.
She's glowing. She got the underglow. She got the LEDs and the spinning rims and the exhaust fucking pipe and the fucking the tail fin thingy. What's that shit's called? You know what I'm talking about. Spoiler. She got all that shit. Yeah. That's the subclasses we got so far. I'm curious to see what book these are going to potentially show up in. And I'm basically happy with all of them. The only one I'm a little iffy on is Hexblade Warlock, probably, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, I got no problems with them. They're not any worse, and the Ranger one is better than any of the other ones, so yeah, fuck it.
Fair. I mean, I could see an argument for maybe the Hexblade one being worse, quote unquote, in some way.
Yeah, but
not really, but I could kind of see someone saying that.
Yeah, like
but like what?
Oh, I was gonna say, but a lot of its utility got sent into Pact of the Blade, so you're just gonna get it and more. So if you mix this with Pact of the Blade, it's gonna be better than it was before, and most people are. I know they're trying to have you branch out to do like Pact of the Chain, Hexblade. Let's be honest with ourselves.
Probably not.
It's not gonna happen as much as they want it to.
Probably not gonna happen. True though, yeah, and they did rework a lot of the other invocations too. So yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I'm mostly interested to just, the main thing I'm intrigued by is what book are these going to show up in. That's my big thing. I'm sure it will not. I'm not even going to speculate what the book could be, because I'll start speculating and then I'll get myself excited and then disappointed when it's not as cool as I thought it could be. And then, you know, the usual cycle I have with 5e books. So I'm just going to not do that.
Understandable.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. Nothing groundbreaking, but nothing bad. Mission accomplished, I suppose. Wizards, you're doing the thing and the thing. I don't know. Stuff's happening.
All right, Wizards, I need you to remake all the Rangers to be as cool as this one is.
That'd be nice. Also, can we get the rest? Can we get the rest of the Wizard subclasses, please?
Yeah, appreciate those two.
That'd be nice. Anyway, That's been us. If you were entertained in any way, shape, or form, you can give us a follow on the social medias, which are in the description.
Yeah.
Goodbye forever, or as Geese Howard would say, die forever.
Did it again. He did this bit.
Did it again.
2 weeks in a row.
I've been playing a lot of Fatal Fury. It's on the mind.
Oh my goodness. We'll have more planning in next week's episode.
I promise nothing.
Okay, well. Never mind then. Peace, motherfuckers.